are you saying?
Look, he left me $80,000.
You're right. You're rich. You're rich. You're rich.
Yay! Grandma's loaded, and I've got a birthday coming.
Wait a minute. Who is this guy, and why did he leave you all this money?
I don't know. Just what it says there that I'm rich.
Hello. Welcome back to
Ayo, away.
the Who's the Boss podcast.
Who was that?
That's Avi, our daughter. And a shout out to Monster Donut Pants on Instagram, because she reminded me, she was like, it might be a good idea if you get a little sound drop of your kid doing it. And I had one, and I just completely forgotten about it. So thank you.
Oh,
so,
yes, very good.
That's Avi doing her best AO way. And now I don't have to do it all the time.
Right.
So here we are.
Before we power through this, full disclosure, right before we were going to start this podcast, Tori spilled an entire glass of wine on herself. I'm just going to throw that out there because I think it's fun.
Yes, but I'm pulling it back together.
Yeah, we cleaned it all up. It looked like a murder scene for a minute, but it's all good now.
And it's brand new, cute little
We were
sushi
just about
pants,
to start, too.
pajamas.
Oh, yeah. The little pants are all...
Yes. As soon as this is over, I'm going to soak them in the washing machine.
Anyway.
Okay, so we are here to discuss Season 2, Episode 4. The title is The Heiress. The original air date was October 15th, 1985. Now, you know what? Actually, I need to check this because October 15th...
Just so everybody knows, our daughter thought it was... She read it as The Hairless. Which I thought was funny.
Well, and she was reading it where it was like they put
Hairless,
Okay, so wait, what day of the week was October 15th? Because now I'm worried that these TV guide dates are off. Okay, no, it was a Tuesday. Okay, so
Why
it
would they be
was,
off?
right? I don't know. I saw something else that said a different date on this episode, so maybe that was wrong. Because then I was like, oh dear, have I been saying the wrong date this whole time? Okay, hang on. Okay, we're back. So the original air date was October 15th, 1985. And the TV Guide summary says, Mona inherits money from a man she doesn't remember until she sees his picture. And then she doesn't want it.
Oh boy, that's some description.
This episode was written by Alan L. Gansberg. And if I'm correct in my investigation, this is the only episode of Who's the Boss he wrote. And it doesn't seem like he was affiliated with the show in any other position. Like sometimes... like people will write certain episodes, but they have other parts on the crew.
Oh, that's
otherwise,
interesting.
Like producers or story editors or something like that.
Like maybe he was hired to write an episode and that was it.
Yeah, I don't know. And I also think that back then, I know this is true of a Simpsons episode, like you could submit a script, and if it was purchased, they used it, then they purchased it. I think Greg Daniels, right? Is that the guy from The Office?
The Office,
okay.
yeah.
Yes, that's how he wrote a few of Simpsons episodes. So anyway, but I also wanted to say, so I looked up, and now we're in Season 2, so it's October of 85. I looked up the top 10 shows for 1985-86 season. And Who's the Boss is in the top 10. So it was Cosby Show, Family Ties, Murder, She Wrote, 60 Minutes. Look at that. You go 60 Minutes.
I know. 60 Minutes is always awesome.
Yeah, still going strong. Cheers, Dallas, Dynasty, The Golden Girls, Miami Vice, and Who's the Boss. Yeah, so now they're in the... Yeah, and I think they stay in the top 10 for a while. So yes, solid in the top 10. Way to go. And it's funny, too, because when you look at the ratings back then, like, I think their rating was like a 22.5 million households or something. Wow. Is that how that works?
I think so, yeah.
And, like, now a successful show...
Yeah, because of streaming and everything.
Right, because there's just so much out there. Like, at the time, there wasn't that much content that you could consume. But that's got to be great for actors and actresses because... You feel like it seems like there's got to be more work out there than there was back then. Okay, so when this episode opens, Angela's sitting on the couch reading a newspaper like a father from the 50s.
I know, which is great.
Yeah. And Tony comes in from the kitchen with the kids. They're chatting about stuff that has nothing to do with anything else in this episode, so it just seems like chat. And then Mona comes in the back door. She says hi to everyone. Good morning, good morning. She walks over to Isla. She walks over to Angela. That's my daughter's name.
It's been one of those days.
And says, hi, darling. And Angela's not responding. And so she's like trying to talk. And Tony's like, can you like put the paper down for a second and look at your mother here? So it's funny because this is very much like the father with the newspaper. And
yes, it is. But it's also like the smartphone of the 80s,
right.
Like not paying attention to what's going on around me, and I'm looking at this paper.
Right.
And just a side note that it's supposed to be like the Wall Street Journal, but they probably didn't have clearance, so it's called the Financial Journal. Nice. Which I got a kick out of. She's reading, and it's the same logo, same font,
right,
as the Wall Street Journal, but it's the Financial Journal.
That's why they probably have to pay for it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So Mona actually rips the paper, and Angela still doesn't notice.
It keeps reading.
And Mona says, "You look more and more like your father." That's foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
The rest of this episode.
Dude, I didn't even think about that.
Doorbell rings. There's a woman there with a telegram for Mona, and she has to yell it, "Telegram!"
Because it's what you did when there's a telegram.
I guess so. And so Mona comes over to take the telegram, but she says he signs. Why does Tony sign for the telegram?
He's just the housekeeper doing all the things.
I guess so.
I don't know. I don't know what
really
that means.
Does everything.
And he does. He just signs and he doesn't question it.
Yeah, right, I know. He's like, okay. The delivery woman was played by Peggy Mannix. I really couldn't find much else that she's done other stuff, but it's like one-offs here and there. Nothing that you would really recognize her from. But I thought she was pretty funny. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, I also do strippergrams for the right price or the right people. And Tony...
So it's just a little perplexed.
I know. And then Tony shuts the door and he just looks a little bit traumatized.
I know.
Like, he's not at all interested. So, and if I noticed too, if you look out the door, like normally it's really covered with like shrubbery right there. And this time it's not, and you can see a little more of the like curtain backdrop that is the neighbor's house across the street, which looks kind of silly. Our dog's barking. So the telegram says that C. Everett Brooks has died, and he left Mona $80,000.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so she starts cheering that she's rich, she's rich, she's rich. And I looked up that $80,000 in 1985 is equivalent to the purchasing power.
Can I guess?
Go for it.
140,000.
Even more.
Really?
$193,516.73.
Wow, I was wondering what the equivalent. I honestly was really wondering that when I'm watching the episode.
Yeah.
And I just guessed it was maybe double, but I thought that was going too high.
Yeah, no, even more than double. I know. That's pretty.
So like almost 200,000.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that. Like, okay. So here, $193,000 would be a great down payment on a house. Not going to get you a house. But in some areas of the country, $80,000 at the time would have purchased her an entire house.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
In Florida or Texas or... You could buy a house for... Not for $80,000, but for the equivalent, which is almost $200,000.
Oh, right. These days. Yes. Right.
So back then, Mona could have just left and said, see you later.
Yeah, I think my parents moved to Florida in 1979. Mm-hmm. And my dad said they bought our first house for $70,000.
Wow.
So, yeah.
My parents purchased for much less than that, actually.
What year was it? Oh, it must just be where they were.
It was like in mid-70s, but probably the area. But I think my parents paid like $25,000 for their first house.
Wow, that's crazy. I know. It's so crazy to think that. Okay, so that is a substantial amount of money. So Jonathan's like, Grandma's loaded, and I've got a birthday coming up.
That's funny.
A birthday we will never see, Jonathan.
No.
Very sorry. No. Hope your presents were good. So Angela recognizes...
So true. Poor Jonathan.
So Angela recognizes the name United Global Industries because she's such an avid reader of the business section. And so she remembers that his obituary recently, and C.E. Brooks was a billionaire.
She just read it last week.
You're right. Yes. And Sam's like, if he left you all this money, you had to have at least met him. But Mona does not remember who this could be. And Angela remembers from the obituary that he's a very eccentric man. He left a trust fund to be divided by all Elvis impersonators. So you know right there, as soon as that line comes out of Judith Light's mouth, that Tony Danza is going to do an Elvis impersonation before this scene is over. And Mona's like, I don't think I sound at all like Elvis. So Tony, they all kind of like trying to figure out how she would have known him. And Tony's like, well, maybe you lent them money or you picked him up hitchhiking in the desert. That's one of his. Yeah, I mean, it's probably not far off for Mona, especially back in like the 60s or something. But yeah. So she's like, maybe she danced with him at a party. They're trying to figure out how she knows him. And now they've moved on to how she can spend the money. Tony's suggesting she buy a mink coat or go for a trip around the world. Sam,
a mink coat? What? $80,000 mink coat?
He does say a floor-length mink coat, so I have no idea what a mink coat would have been worth.
And I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah, I have no idea, but
maybe that's
seems like that would be a lot for a mink coat, but maybe not. Samantha wants her to buy Springsteen tickets, and Angela wants her to invest.
Which is awesome.
Which one?
Well, both, but the fact she wants him to buy Springsteen, like Springsteen was the big thing then.
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah. Again, like, I mean, Springsteen tickets couldn't have been that much, but maybe that's the joke that they were expensive at the time.
So right now, I'm looking at a floor-length mink coat going for $7,000.
Okay, yeah. People would still buy a mink coat.
I mean, that's now, so maybe then.
But you can't wear fur anywhere. I mean, like...
No, without someone throwing red paint on you or something.
Right. So,
well, I mean, who wears mink? Nobody, right?
I have no idea. I don't think so. Mona wants to buy a Porsche.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah. So Tony's like, this couldn't have happened to a nicer person. And he's like, well, maybe one nicer person. And then here comes the Elvis impersonation. Right. And Angela and Mona seem pretty impressed with it. Or that's just Judith and Catherine laughing because they seem pretty excited about it. So we cut to Mona in her apartment with an interior decorator that she's hired to redo the apartment. Now, this is an apartment that was just built less than a year ago. That she's going to now spend this... What is it called when you get money? A windfall? Windfall. I think so. It's like when you get unexpected money. Like, why would you waste it on something that you just had built a year ago?
Right. But and how much would it cost to redo an apartment anyway?
Well, according to Fran Drescher, it's going to be 80 G's could get the whole room done. But so now this is Fran Drescher before she was Fran Drescher.
Right before the nanny, right? Okay.
It's actually quite a... So Yeah,
because nanny was...
93.
You're right. It would have been almost 10 years.
So at this point, she had done, spots in movies. She's obviously in Saturday Night Fever.
Right.
She was in Spinal Tap. But it's like...
Yes, I loved her in Spinal Tap.
But see, I think we only know of her in these movies because she then became Fran Drescher.
Of course.
Like, at the time, she just had a small part in these movies.
Yeah, she was really good in Spinal Tap. I love that movie.
Yeah, I have seen that movie.
You don't remember her?
But I don't remember her.
Oh, I should show you that scene. She's great in that movie.
She's great in Saturday Night Fever, too. I think she's the one that, like, pulls Johnny onto the dance floor or off the dance floor.
Yeah.
Is that even his name in the movie?
I think so. I don't know. I'm just agreeing with you as if I know that's his name. Yeah, do Johnny. We'll do it for Johnny.
So, yes, The Nanny premiered in 1993. Now, this is the first of two characters that Fran Drescher will play on Who's the Boss. This character is Carol Patrice. So, when we get to the next character, then we'll talk about the spin-off she did for Who's the Boss. So,
wow.
Yeah, she had a little bit of a run with Who's the Boss.
Good information. I like it.
So, but yes, The Nanny premiered November 3rd, 1993.
Okay.
And
I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah, I didn't realize. So I was in the 8th grade, so it was right before freshman year. But I don't remember when I started watching The Nanny. But I also love that show.
Oh, I was already graduated high school.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm old.
You're older than me.
Yeah, I'm an old bastard.
So, and Who's the Boss, for reference, ended in April of 92.
Okay.
So Carol Patrice is like, this place is simply not you. We need to do this all over, blah, blah, blah. Doorbell rings.
She's like, who designed it?
Yeah.
And then Mona's like, me.
This place is simply not you.
Yeah, she's like, it's simply not you. Who designed it? Me.
Right, exactly. Less than a year ago.
Right.
And I don't know, with the penis that are Georgia O'Keeffe faucets. Like, it's all very
I forgot about that, yes.
So now the doorbell
what are these
rings.
Penis faucets? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hang on. What?
Time out. Before we go into the doorbell ringing, there is a part of this where she says that she can make the place more upscale or tres elegante.
Yes, tres elegante.
Don't you want to know what tres elegante is?
My thought is very elegant.
Oh, well, I was going to read the whole thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. It is.
That's what it means in French, right?
Yes,
okay.
But, well, maybe I'm the only one who didn't. I went and looked it up.
Well.
It's very elegant.
Okay, yes. I mean.
Okay, let's just keep going and pretend that never happened.
I only took like 1 year of French in high school, but I just kind of figured that's what
because then Mona says, I have 80 grand, I can buy a lot of elegante.
Yeah, that was funny. Yes.
All right. Okay, never mind.
Yep. Turn the page. Okay, so now the doorbell rings, and we need a doorbell sound for this podcast because the doorbell rings a lot.
Yeah.
And it's Larry Liebling.
Yep, the car king.
Yes, but now here we go again. According to IMDb and the credits of the show, this character's name is Larry Lieber. Leiber.
Okay.
But he clearly says it's Larry Liebling.
Well, the
car
closed
king.
Captioning says Liebling. Okay.
So here's my thought. I think that when they were actually shooting it, they were like, oh, it's funnier if his last name is Liebling because then that rhymes with Car King.
Oh,
and they changed
it.
it.
Car King.
And then they never changed the actual credits of the show, and so those also ended up on IMDb.
I see.
And this time it wasn't even Tony Danza that said it.
No.
But I'm still going to blame him. Because he was probably like, no, it's funnier if it rhymes with Car King. And so now we have Larry Liebling. So yes, so it's Larry Liebling, the Car King. And he's played by Nicholas Horman. Mm-hmm. Character actor, lots of things here and there, was also on Taxi.
Really?
Yeah.
So look at that.
Like, these can't all be connected to Tony Danza, right? Like, do you think maybe like?
I would give maybe half because you have to think about all of the character actor, like people who cycled through,
right? And like maybe the same casting people did Who's the Boss, and because I know like you see that a lot with like Allison Jones casting, who does the Office and several other shows.
Same people, they have like a pool of people that they pull from or whatever. So I think some of it's that, and some of it is people who are on Taxi that maybe Tony.
Right, like obviously the Jeff Conaway is definitely because of Tony, but I feel like these secondary.
But you don't think Larry Liebling is?
maybe he and Nicholas Horman were very good friends. I have no idea, but
possible.
Yeah. So now Larry Liebling, the Car King, is putting on like a big sales pitch, trying to get Mona into a car. Yeah,
a Porsche. Oh, jeez, a Porsche.
And like he's. Trying to sell her on adventure and romance, and she's like, no sex?
Right, which I actually looked that up. I mean, not sex, but the fact that she says no, like, horsepower. So I thought maybe sex is a reference to horsepower, or was. No. But it's not.
No, I think it's because...
What does she mean, no sex?
It's a whole awkward scene. I know, like, yeah. She's like, oh, but trying to say like, oh, it's not sexy though, And then he's like, I'm a married man, but I'm not a fanatic. And then he's kind of coming on to her.
He is, but at the same time, he says he's not a married man, but he
is a married man.
I'm sorry, that he is a married man, but he's willing,
right?
Whatever,
right?
And he doesn't have a ring on, which makes him a cheesy.
I didn't even notice that.
I did.
Wow.
See what I? Yeah. Forget all your looking up Fran Drescher, and she's in a later episode. I noticed that Larry Liebling doesn't have a ring on, even though he says he's a married man.
So then maybe like once he comes onto her, she's like, I'm looking for someone with a little more horsepower, meaning like you're kind of a dweeb, Liebling.
Which goes back to sexist horsepower. I don't know.
Okay,
I just thought that it meant something, and then it obviously went nowhere. My internet search went nowhere.
So Tony comes in, and now Tony doesn't ring the doorbell, if you notice, or knock. He just opens up the door.
In.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that's a dangerous thing to do to Mona's apartment.
You don't know what's going to be going on in there.
You'd probably be better off busting into Angela's bedroom at any moment of the day.
Right, you're going to see less.
And see less than walking into Mona's apartment.
Knew that...
He knew that those people were up there.
He still knock. He does. Yeah. He kicks the door right in.
I know. And so he's excited to tell her that in the paper, there's an article about C. Everett Brooks. But
wait a minute. You know what I thought was funny? Is that, of course, Tony knows who Larry is. Right. I thought that was awesome. Like, he knows who he is. Oh, he's like, you're the car king. Because he probably... saw the commercials while folding laundry or something. Yep. You know what I mean? I thought that was funny. That he was like, you're the car king.
That is funny.
Like, of course Tony knows who Larry Liebling, the car king,
Yes, that was great.
Yeah.
So, Mona introduces him to them, and then he tells her there's an article in the paper about C. Everett Brooks, and that his wives, I guess he had multiple, are going to contest the will. But Mona's like, she's not worried about this, and she's going to fight for it because she wants...
Like, it's my money.
Right. She wants her $80,000 that he's giving her. But there's a picture in the paper that Carol Patrice points out. And once Mona...
Carol Patrice.
that's Ren.
Is this your daddy Warbucks?
Right. Yes. And I will say that I think Fran Drescher has grown as an actress from this point a lot. Because she's not super in this part. But you can see where she's going with that whole character, and she definitely fleshed it out before she got to the nanny, and it's much better. So, once Mona sees the picture in the paper of C. Everett Brooks, she suddenly kind of goes a little pale and says that she's like, oh, what's $80,000? I don't need the money, and quickly ushers Carol and the car king out the door.
Right, and she says, she's like, I'll just throw some paint on the walls.
Yeah, right.
And I'll rotate the tires on my bike.
Right.
Which then again hints the fact that Mona's still riding a bike.
Yep, she still has the bike.
Right. All right, well.
Now, there's no mention of Grover.
$80,000 really would have gone a long way. Got her car, got rid of the bike.
But see, I thought she had a car, because wasn't there an episode where Angela needed a ride, but she had brought her bike that day?
Oh.
So I feel like she
lives in the backyard.
Oh, that's true, right?
Confused here.
Yeah. Now where would she have the car?
Somewhere.
Yeah. Okay,
in
so
the
maybe
vicinity.
she doesn't have a car anymore. But so okay, I noticed something though. Look behind Tony and Mona there. Those bar stools are pretty epic. They're like plexiglass.
Oh, it's a plexiglass with a cushion.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, and it's plexi all the way to the floor.
Yes, they're like...
I did not notice that. Wow, those are incredible.
You almost can't see them because they're clear.
Yeah, well, that was what the 80s was all about.
And then there's another thing. If you look at by her front door, there's a piece of artwork on the wall. And it kind of looks like a Solo cup, like the painting on the actual canvas.
Yeah.
And then what looks like straws are sticking out of it.
Oh, it's like I don't want to say performance art, because that's not what that is. But like
I don't know what
what is happening there.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Very Miami Vice.
So yeah, I love that apartment. I just love looking around at all the stuff in
She
there.
doesn't need a makeover in that apartment.
No, everything should stay exactly
Those
the
plexiglass bar stools would be freaking awesome now.
I know, like
having those now, you'd be like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, like it would, like
in a way, I think
it would be hard. Yes, it would be hard to like get them to fit into.
Right, it'd have to be a real like retro.
Yeah, but like not going like, overboard with area. It.
Yeah,
but yeah, they are pretty cool.
Yeah, you just can't throw those anywhere. But they're awesome.
They are. So Tony is suspicious as to why she suddenly changed her mind. And he asks her if she recognizes him, and she denies that she does. So later that night, Angela comes home from work.
Storming in.
Storming into the house, yelling on her way in, yelling for Tony and Mona, have you seen the afternoon paper? Realizes that there's no one there and that she's talking to furniture.
Right.
Tony comes out and says, what are you doing, talking to furniture?
I know.
Now, I just want to take a moment to talk about Angela's outfit here, because it's like white leather boots, a long pleated skirt, a belt that looks like it's right out of Superman's Fortress Palace or something.
And then Fortress Palace?
of Solitude.
Did you say Fortress Palace?
I said Ice of Fortress Palace.
What did you say? Ice of Fortress Palace?
I dumped wine on myself earlier. Go easy.
What does that mean? Ice of Fortress?
No, what is that? The Fortress of Solitude. Like
Fortress of Solitude. Yeah.
And then that blouse. And
then
the
pearls. The pearls are kind of awesome.
And the giant white coat that went over the entire ensemble.
Whole thing. Yeah.
So Tony comes in. He's mixing up something in a bowl.
Yes.
And he's like, what are you saying? And she's like, the afternoon paper came out, and there's a picture of C. Everett Brooks in the paper. And she's like, I want to go find Mother and see if she recognizes him. And Tony fills her in that he's like, I already talked to her.
She saw the picture. Yeah. She turned down the money.
Yeah, and like lets her know he's pretty suspicious about what's going on. So Angela suggests that they go to the family archives, which really just means...
I know, it doesn't make any sense.
Let's go up in the attic.
Family archives.
Yeah. But of course, she's got to go sticking her fingers in whatever Tony's making. And he's like, let me put the sauce down. Yeah. She's like, what is it? Sticks her finger in it. And he's like, it's sweet and sour when I put the sweet in.
Right.
So she deserved that.
She did, for sticking her filthy finger. Right. Her filthy Subway, wherever she was on, finger into that without washing it.
Right, exactly. So they go upstairs to the attic. Now, we were discussing this a little bit. I'm guessing those, like, so up on the landing where all the bedrooms are, probably where the camera always is, maybe we're supposed to assume that there's another door there that leads up to the attic.
It's a hell of an attic, too.
Does it really make sense? Because it would lead out.
It's probably 4 feet higher than them when they get up there.
Yeah.
That's some attic.
So I've always been like enamored with these attics that you could actually go in and stand in. Right. And like some people even make their bedroom up there.
That's true. I know I'm not saying they don't exist, but this is some attic.
Right. No, the attics like that I think do exist to an extent.
Yes.
But when you're a kid in Florida, first of all, you don't have a basement. Because if you had a basement, it would just be in the water. And then, 2, your attic has like a little hole in the ceiling.
Right.
A ladder comes down. You can't go up there. And when your dad does have to go up there to do stuff, he has to balance on the beams because if he steps anywhere else, he's going to fall through the house.
And he's angry that he's up there.
And he's angry because it's like 4,000 degrees up there. Yeah, in California, the attic is much the same, right? You can't go in the attic and walk around, right?
No, I can't. No, we have one over. I haven't been in the main part of the house, but in the...
over the garage.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I just always, like as a kid, whenever I would see these attics in movies or TVs, I was just like, that's the coolest thing ever. Because it's like this whole other part of the house that's usable space. It's amazing.
And Angela went up in full leather boots. And
right.
I'm up in the attic.
Right. She didn't have to like go change into clothes that she doesn't care if they get dirty. Right. Yeah. She just went up in what she was wearing. So as they get up there, she warns him, like, it's a mess up here. I haven't been up here in a while. But it's not a mess because Tony's been there. Yeah. So she doesn't realize that at some point, Tony went up and completely organized the attic.
She's like, Tony, it's spotless. And, like, when did he go up there? to do it.
Oh, he probably just did it.
But he's got to clean the rest of the house.
I know, but he's Tony. And, like, the kids are at school, so he probably had days where he, that was like a project that he worked on.
He's got filing cabinets out there.
He does. So the filing cabinets I thought were kind of dumb because really it's a terrible waste of space for those Christmas decorations.
I know.
But it was cute for the scene. But the thing that I like about this is that it shows, like, I'm sure it was obviously Angela never expected him to clean the attic.
No.
That's not part of his job description.
No.
But I really think it's kind of like, this is Tony's house. And so he cleaned, then organized the attic. And he probably made some space so that he and Samantha had room to put stuff up there if they needed to. So I just thought that was really cute. It's like another way Tony's making this his home. And I also like that he had the chairs hanging up on the wall.
I know.
Like, I don't know if that was him or... Yeah,
it had to have been.
Yeah.
Who else would do that?
True. But yeah, I thought that was a good use of space because then these are extra chairs, hang them up high on the wall. And then for the set dressers, it just really filled the space, which I think was good.
Double, it's good.
I was looking around, like there's a couple trunks, there's a guitar. Whose guitar do you think that is?
I don't know. Mona's. Yeah. I'm going with Mona.
There were lots of barrels. I don't really know what you would have in these barrels. And then a pinata.
There is a lot of barrels. What's happening there? And a dartboard that probably nobody uses.
Right. A pinata. That's for
creepy.
Jonathan's birthday that we'll never see.
Yes. Oh, man, maybe.
And then 2 headboards hanging on the walls.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, well, I guess for a bed that
it seems
add
like
later.
Right. It seems like all the beds already have headboards, so you probably can get rid of these, Angela.
And he's mounted them to the stone fireplace somehow. But whatever.
So some time passes. They're going through photos. They haven't found anything yet, but I love
searching the archives.
Right, searching the archives. Who's the babe on the bearskin rug?
I know.
Must be a naked picture of a baby Angela. Mm-hmm. And she gets all embarrassed and takes it from him.
He says, I recognize those cheeks anywhere.
That's funny.
What does that mean? Like he's seen her butt.
He was just joking.
I know, but it's just funny.
Yeah. Well, but he no, he didn't see the butt. No, he saw the front.
Saw the front, not the back.
So then Angela finds a picture of her at 14. And Tony's like, yeah,
right.
Which, again, so mean.
I know, makes fun of her at 14. But not nice.
Didn't we just learn 2 episodes ago that he kissed her when she was 13? So how much did Angela change?
What happened in a year?
In this 1 year that suddenly he's like, ugh. So then he's like, I remember my gawky period too. It was a terrible weekend or whatever it was. So now she finds another picture of her at 9 years old. And it's from the summer that she and her mom spent in Nantucket. And Tony says he's never been to Nantucket, but he loves the limerick.
I know, which we...
So, yeah.
We've done the research on this,
yeah.
Which we kind of knew.
And Angela's like, oh, really? How does it go? And he just kind of shakes it off and then rolls his eyes at how naive she is.
Right.
So we did do some research on this.
We did the research on it when we can't even repeat.
I know. This is going to be difficult, but okay. So I think what it is kind of like now
there's a few versions.
Well, I feel like now this has just gotten kind of a thing where it's referenced in TV and movies a lot because it's like kind of a famous thing,
and because it rhymes with the F word,
right?
Right.
So yeah, but
I mean, I can read a clean one for you. There once was a man from Nantucket who kept all his cash in a bucket, but his daughter named Nan ran away with a man. And as for the bucket, Nantucket.
Right.
I don't know what that means.
So when Tony makes the reference about how he loves the limerick, you would think that this is a limerick that's kind of like the Lonnie song from the camping episode where she's swinging from the outhouse door without her nightie on. But the most famous dirty limerick is actually about a man. There once was a man from Nantucket. That's the only line I can read.
Yeah.
But basically the gist of it is that his appendage was quite long and he was able...
he could service himself.
Right. He could do stuff to himself and he was very excited about that.
Oh, God, it's really horrible.
And so he's so excited about that he kind of wishes his ear was a part of a female body.
But what's the part about, wiping off his chin. The whole thing is horrible.
So that is.
I'm just looking at it right now. That's
so So if that is the one that Tony's referencing, like he's super.
It makes no sense, right. To be honest with you.
Now there is one about a girl who there once was a girl from Nantucket who crossed the sea in a bucket, and when she got there, they asked for the fare, so she pulled up her dress and said,
"Oh my God."
Okay, so that could be the one he's talking about.
Maybe that's the one Tony likes.
But I honestly think that at this point, like, that little limerick, the first line has just kind of become infamous, and so it's kind of used in these situations as like a dirty limerick.
Right. It rhymes with the F word.
So anyway.
And it.
Yeah.
F it.
But yeah, I'm kind of glad, because I've never actually known what the limerick was.
Either.
And I don't think a lot of people do, and I think that's kind of also part of the joke. Like, it's just known for being dirty, but possibly no one really even knows just how dirty it is.
But it's disturbed. Like, the one is so disturbing. Go look it up.
Yeah, definitely
People,
look
just
it up.
Look it up.
Not
if
at
you
work.
really want to know.
Not at work, not on any computer that your child
would
look
it doesn't
at.
make... It's like...
Yeah. So, but I love how Tony just rolls his eyes at how naive Angela is. So she starts reminiscing about this summer in Nantucket, and there was a clam bake, and they used to be on the beach and stuff. And Tony sees a picture and says, it's C. Everett Brooks. He's in this picture. And she's like, no, that's not him. That was our neighbor, Charlie Bruckheimer. And Angela says that Charlie didn't have a lot of money, but he used to give her money to go to the movies. And Tony's like, oh, you guys must have seen a lot of movies together. And she's like, no, it was actually just me. I would go to the movies, and Mom and Charlie would spend a lot of time together alone.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. No, I love the fact that in whatever year this was in Nantucket, you could just send your 9-year-old to the movies by themselves with some money. I so wish that was still possible.
Not a thing.
No. Although when I was a kid, my parents owned a Carvel ice cream store, and right next door to it was a movie theater, which was fantastic. And
so you probably got to go to the movies?
I did, because the people who owned the movie theater had a grandson around my age, so they would just send us to go see movies together. And it was great, except I was kind of a scaredy cat, and I got scared of a lot of movies. So anyway. So Angela's starting to put this together, like, oh, they were sending me to the movies so they could have an affair. And
long walks on the beach.
Right, long walks on the beach. They spent a lot of time alone together. And she's like, oh my God, my mom had an affair with him. And now Tony's the naive one, because
he's like, why?
Right?
What?
She's putting these pieces together, and he's like, she did what? When? Who? Why? Which I thought was funny. So he wants her to go and talk to Mona about this, and she doesn't want to. She's like, it's not any of my business. Mm-hmm. And it really isn't any of her business.
No, it's not.
And also, it was so long ago, and what an awkward thing to even like have to bring up to your parents in the first place. So
what's funny is my notes here say Tony is all up in the business. Because I mean, that's what we're covering now.
And you're right.
I am following along. My notes are correct.
Excellent work. Thank you.
Yep.
So she's like, I want you to stay out of it also. And he doesn't want to butt out.
No.
So
it's because he's Italian.
And I think also to Angela, like, she kind of thinks this is what happened. But if she confronts her mom, then it makes it real. Like, she could probably just always go the rest of her life thinking that she could be wrong. Right.
Yeah, right.
And just kind of shake it off. But once she knows for real, then this is probably going to be devastating. So the next morning, they're in the kitchen. Tony's making breakfast. Jonathan's making out his will.
I know. What's happening?
I know, but we know Jonathan's got deep pockets. So he is probably taking some money with him. He says he's taking everything with him. Signed, Jonathan.
Signed, Jonathan.
And then Samantha's asking Tony if he has a will. And he's like, of course I do. You get everything. Do you want it now? And he starts reaching in his pockets.
I know. I think it's a couple of dollars.
And then, so Samantha's getting ready to leave. And I'm really annoyed with Angela here. So as
Me too. I know what you're getting at. Yeah. And I'm annoyed too.
As Samantha's leaving, she's like, morning, Angela. And Angela completely does not acknowledge her at all.
Right. So, like, whatever you got going on in your personal life, don't bring it out.
Right. Don't take it out on the
Right,
little
don't be all,
13-year-old girl who has no
exactly.
mom. Stop it.
Who has no mom?
And she's like, must be nice for her to say her mom's a saint or something. Mm-hmm. So I get it. They were going for that little line right there, but I felt bad for Samantha. And so Tony's like, are you going to say anything to her? Angela had a terrible night's sleep. She was having nightmares when she didn't sleep. When she did sleep, she was having insomnia for the rest of the night, and now she has a migraine.
Right, so it's all about Angela here.
Now, Mona comes in, and Tony's trying to get them to talk. She comes in, she sits down, he asks her if she would like a croissant, gets her breakfast. What a deal Mona has. You just wake up in the morning, stumble across the driveway, and then somebody else feeds you breakfast.
But it's not croissant like the rest of us say.
Oh, what did he say?
Well, he was like, croissant. Oh. Like, suddenly Tony is super French.
Très elegante.
Yeah, but you want a croissant? He does. He says it's a croissant.
So he's trying to get them to talk, and Angela's in such a bad mood that she's actually eating breakfast. She's
she usually eats orange juice and coffee.
Yeah, and he says he's the only one talking, and he basically tells Mona, like, we went upstairs in the attic,
in the archives,
and we found this picture of your neighbor Charlie, and he's waiting for her to give some sort of explanation for this that isn't cheating. And Angela's worst fear is realized when Mona admits that she did have an affair with Charlie.
I know, which is very controversial for the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably go more into it later. After
No, we can go into it right here because
but, like,
I
the
agree.
fact that, like, they had an affair, she admits to it, and then they work it out later. It's kind of like it's very controversial of this episode to have that as like, yes, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And your father was busy or whatever.
I agree.
I know they go into that later, but
it's, first of all, it's a woman in this position.
Right,
that they're
exactly.
showing. And I think it's difficult, so they have to paint it in a way where you're not going to dislike Mona. And you can tell even she is worried because, so Angela gets very upset, kind of takes it out on Tony that he's the one that's made this truth come out. So now she does have to live with the truth. Mm-hmm. She storms out, and you can tell that Mona is embarrassed and a little worried that Tony is going to think less of her because she knows how much he holds marriage and honesty, as a strong standard for himself. But he doesn't judge her at all, and he makes it clear that he's still on her side. Yes. So yeah, I really think this was an interesting subject for them to tackle, especially with it being a woman. We've seen Mona as like the flirty, oversexed is how they like to say her, what she's like in the media. But like, I just think it's interesting to now see this, that she actually did step out on her marriage and the fallout from that. Mm-hmm. Now, and it's very sweet. It's a great conversation between Tony and Mona where he's basically saying that she's still, number one to him, and he doesn't feel any different about her. Now, that night, Tony's waiting up for Angela to come home from work. Well, he was waiting up until he fell asleep.
So sleep on the couch.
Yeah. And Angela comes in and sees that he's there sleeping. Now, again, like, this is another part that I thought was very sweet, and not even so much. So, like, maybe Tony isn't even really falling in love with Angela at this point. He obviously has an attraction to her, and he considers her a really good friend. But the thing that I think is really sweet about this is that, like, he's this is his family now. And, like, we know how important family is.
Sorry. That was really loud, me turning my page in my notes.
We know how important family is to Tony, but really Tony has no family. Like, he doesn't have parents. His wife died. His father-in-law's in jail. Mm-hmm. Really, it's
good point.
It's him and Samantha. We will find out that he has aunts and uncles, but they don't live close. Mrs. Rosini's kind of a surrogate mom to him. So I think this is sort of like, if he isn't in love with her yet, which I don't think he is, then this is his family, and he's he cares about them, and he's gonna wait up. So Angela comes in. She sees him sleeping. She tries to quietly put down her stuff. And she's going to walk upstairs and just let him stay there. But she decides not to.
Yes.
And then does wake him up. And he's upset that she was out so late. It's almost...
But then he hits his head on the table.
Right. Yes.
He like looks up, he's like, what? And then he puts his head back again and hits his head on the table.
And I wonder...
Which almost looks like an accident.
Right,
like,
I wonder if that was an accident. Like he just... Because
he was like, ow.
He's upset. It's almost midnight. She didn't call.
Which is nice. He's concerned.
Yeah, definitely.
And she's like, I had to work late.
Yeah, she's pretty cold here to him in the beginning.
She's still mad.
She is. She's pretty mad. But she says that she remembers that her father used to wait up for her. And you can see that she sees probably some of the qualities in her dad in Tony.
Mm-hmm.
When she starts to kind of compare that he would wait up when she would come home from the library. He would pretend he wasn't. And he wouldn't be upset with her for coming home late. He just kind of, it was sort of their thing. So Tony apologizes for butting in, but he still really wants her to talk to Mona and to work this out. And just then...
And then, who comes wandering in the house at midnight? But Mona.
Right, Mona.
Just waiting around.
Yeah, that back door is unlocked.
Jeez.
She's still wearing all the clothes she had on today. It probably would take less time for Tony Danza to quickly change into a bathrobe while he's sleeping than it would for Mona to have to get into a whole different outfit during this.
I guess.
So, yeah.
Mona could have put on pajamas, though.
But the best part is that if you look to the the top right-hand corner of the screen, there's some serious boom mic right when Mona starts talking.
Oh, that's right. I remember you pointing that out.
Yeah, that comes right in. So Tony makes a getaway and leaves Angela and Mona alone. And I love...
And Tony's like, look at the time.
Yeah. I love that Mona pats the seat next to her on the couch, but Angela sits all the way at the other end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still mad.
And then they show this two shot of them on opposite ends of the couch. Now, I thought this was these are two very good actresses. And
I thought so too.
I thought this was a great scene because it's like...
It is.
It's not too dramatic, but it is emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And they both were great in it. But Mona says, she never intended for them to have this conversation. She never intended for Angela to ever find out about this. You can tell she's embarrassed and upset. But, and the best part, she's like, if you want to just punch me, because Angela tries to leave when Mona's like, I never wanted to talk about this with you. And she's like, great, and tries to go to bed. But she follows her, and she's like, if you want to just punch me in the arm.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably why my notes say punch is awesome.
Oh, yes. That would be why that's...
It is. It's pretty awesome when she gives her a good shot in the arm.
That was great.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. And so she's like, how could you do that to Daddy? Now everything just starts coming out. And she's like, he would never hurt you like this. And Mona says he was never there.
Right. She tells her side of the story.
Yeah. And I feel like this is interesting because when you're a kid, you don't really know what's going on in your parents' marriage. And I think, now as an adult, she can probably look back and see some of these things. But it's also hard when you realize that your parents... I mean, obviously, she's realized that Mona's a flawed person to begin with. But, when you're a kid and you realize that your parents are just people with their own problems and their own issues, it hurts, I think, And so she's standing here in front of a woman who cheated on her husband. And that husband was her father. And I feel like she's deeply affected by this. So... Mona basically says, he was never around. He didn't come up on the weekends, and I was lonely. And Angela says, he wasn't...
He was always involved in work or whatever.
Right. Angela's like, he wasn't cheating on you. He was working. And Mona's like, she basically equates the fact that, to her, his work was his mistress. Mm-hmm. It always came first. It always, made him not come home on time for dinner... made him not, for him to go an entire summer without seeing them, he's obviously a workaholic. And you can see that Angela has some of these qualities.
Right.
So I love the line when Angela's like, well, he was working, you and Charlie were, and then just doesn't say it.
I know. I really quick, I want to tell you what my notes say here. It says Mona had to hump another man to get the attention of her husband. And then it says, all good now. What does that mean?
Okay, so here's where I'm thinking that either that note could be either that after Mona did tell the husband.
It's accurate.
Right, so it's either that the husband and her were all good or Angela and Mona were all good. Let's find out. Let's see what you think.
Oh, okay. All right, I like that.
So she tells Angela it was more than just sex, like they laughed, they talked.
Right, like she connected with somebody because the husband was not in the picture.
Right.
He
it
was
wasn't
busy
just
working.
like a meaningless affair.
Right, which makes you not feel bad
it's
or
difficult.
whatever. Like, not judge Mona. Like, honestly, she was looking for something at the time.
Right.
You don't judge Mona as hard
right.
as you.
Yeah, I mean, she just she's saying you didn't know our marriage and I did, and you didn't know what was going on. And yeah, I mean, obviously there are probably people who just cheat just to cheat, and they're going to. But then in this situation, this was probably more just like a cry for help. Or maybe she was hoping she'd get caught and shake things up, or
right.
I don't think she necessarily just did it because she knew she could get away with it. So she says that she told the dad.
Yeah.
They fought. They broke a lot of dishes. And then they started working on repairing their marriage and spending more time together and putting themselves as a priority. And she said after that, things got better. And your father was around for vacations and he tried to come home for dinner.
Right. But what she said is that they fought, they broke dishes. And then she said that she needed a new set of dishes anyway.
Right.
And then that's when Angela says, is that when we got the set of Wedgwood?
Right. Oh, did you look that up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I had
Wedgwood
no idea.
are dishes from England in the 1759.
Oh.
Back in 1759. There's Wedgwood collection of dishes. I have the website up. And they're very fancy dishes.
I bet. Because I think I've heard the words Wedgwood, China.
Wedgwood.
Yeah, but so.
Oh, they're fancy. It's fancy stuff.
Is it this now? Would it happen to be the stuff that's on the wall in the house on those shelves?
I feel like it could be if you were to look at this.
So maybe
Go look up Wedgwood.
Okay, I will.
Because I feel like it does look like that kind of stuff.
That's funny. We never asked for China when we got married.
No, because we didn't have a china cabinet.
Right, we don't have a china cabinet.
Or wanted china.
And I don't really know.
I want dishes I can eat off of. And china cabinets, stuff just sits in there. Nobody uses it.
We would only break it out for we have larger dishes from our collection that we use for.
Yeah, we were a little more practical.
Yeah, we're not very fancy people. Okay, so.
We spill wine on ourselves.
On our $8 sushi pants we got at TJ Maxx last week, and they were very sad.
See?
Okay, so they both get emotional remembering the dad, saying that he was wonderful and, that they miss him.
Because he was still a father and still a husband.
Yeah. And at this point, he's been dead for more than 20 years.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
I guess so.
If she was 14 when he died, which I think we learn at some point on this show, then yeah, because she's about 35 now. So it's 21 years.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Very good observation.
He forgave Mona, so she's hoping that Angela can too. And they cry and they hug and they make up, and it's a very, very emotional scene.
It is. I mean, there's tears in their eyes. And stuff.
They did a great job. But what then breaks it up with a little comedic relief is that as they're hugging, you hear Tony, who's been on the landing of the stairs watching and listening.
What a yenta he is. God.
And he's crying. And then he comes down and gives them big hugs.
And he's like, oh, and he's running down the stairs.
Yeah. But still, he's running down. His chest is kind of hanging out of that robe.
I know. Well, of course it is.
Right, of course. I'm surprised he even had the robe on.
And he has a robe and pants.
I think it's those high sweatpants.
Yeah, sweatpants and a robe.
Yeah, maybe it's cold. It must be very cold.
Yeah, I'll give it to him.
It's October in Connecticut,
That's true.
yeah. Here it's still freaking hot.
Okay.
So then he gives him a big hug. Mona calls him a dip, if you see in the closed captioning,
dip.
which is really funny. So now in the tag,
everybody's up in the basement.
Attic.
Oh my God! I said up in the basement, up in the attic.
So yeah, they're all up in the attic and they're going through Angela's old stuff because Tony wants to throw some of this stuff away, and I can only imagine that the pink marshmallowy dress behind is one of Angela's
and
prom
why is it all of a
dresses.
sudden hanging up? It wasn't there.
It must have been in one of the trunks and he's trying to get rid of stuff.
Oh, I see.
So he
'cause
probably
the trunk's
pulled
open.
it out.
You're right.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it now. The trunk is open.
but she went to prom. I mean, it looks like Glenda the
horrible.
Good Witch's
Oh, God, it's
dress from Wizard of Oz. It's very pink and very fluffy. And they show off, Mona finds Angela's old Girl Scout uniform, which is really cute. And she had a pin for, I can't remember what it was.
Oh,
but
it was for phone
etiquette.
Phone
or something?
etiquette.
That's
right.
funny. That's very Angela.
And it's really cute because she's like super embarrassed about talking about it. It's like, I got a merit badge. She says a merit badge. She's no, it's a proficiency badge.
Right.
Telephone manners is what it is.
Yeah, she's kind of in that little girl mode where she goes sometimes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But then like Mona jumps in. She's like, we were really proud of her.
Right.
Like, I know.
And then Tony finds this little plastic palm tree with a monkey growing on it and climbing on it. And he's like, why do we need this? Like, why can't we get rid of this little tiny palm tree with a monkey on it? And
which I thought was bizarre at first. I'm like, what the heck is he talking about?
Right,
But
he
then
finds
I
the
realized
smallest thing in the attic and then wants to get rid of it. And Jonathan's like, no, that's for my turtle bowl. And he's holding this little bowl.
He just comes out of the corner with a turtle bowl in his hand. Poor Jonathan. It's like,
I
if I told him to do things here and there, like, hold this bowl, walk out. Right. Like, all right, whatever.
And Tony's like, well, that's great, but where is the turtle? And he's like, we lost him 3 years ago. So Tony's like, I'm done with this. I'm going downstairs and going to start dinner. So he leaves, and the rest of them are up there, and Jonathan's like, I want to go down too because the attic is spooky. And at night, I hear things up here.
Yeah.
And Angela's like, oh, that's just your imagination. But let's go downstairs. And I love how she says, we'll let Tony do all this.
I know. What does that mean? Poor Tony. He's already organized the attic. Like,
right.
What does he have to do?
Now he's going to put back all of Angela's crap that she won't throw away. Let's let Tony do all this. And then also as they're going down this... You go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Also, as they're going down the stairs, you hear Mona say, last one down is a sissy.
Oh, my gosh. What's... 80s.
I know.
Last
and, of course, the last one down is
sissy.
Angela.
Right. Well, that figures.
Yeah. So, as everyone clears the scene, you see a giant turtle come out from behind
It's
the trunk.
tremendous.
Yes.
What has that thing been living on?
There's
no way it would fit in that little jar or a glass jar, not jar, but container that Jonathan has. But anyway.
Now, there are a few things about this that I want to know. One, how did they get that? Like, so was the turtle just sitting behind that? There had to have been someone holding the shell or something that we couldn't see. It was probably
trying to crawl away.
Right. And then they let go of it. I would love to know.
And I bet you that turtle's still alive.
Right, because don't they live
forever?
I don't know. They do live a long time, like 60 years or something.
Yeah, I bet you the thing's still alive.
Now, the other interesting thing about this scene...
And he's large.
...is that... So, that's a real thing that has happened to people, I think, where they have lost turtles and found them years later. Also, since we've become owners of a bearded dragon...
Yes.
I've heard stories where people have lost their bearded dragon and found them months later... and they're completely fine, and they were like living in a cabinet.
Because those things poo and stuff, so there's poo places.
But they can go into a brumation, so like you could lose it. It could go in a cabinet and then like hibernate in there or brumate until they're ready to wake up, and then they come. It's called brumate. It's
I thought it was bromate. Like bromate better.
And then come out and they're like, oh, we're fine. They can also play dead. So they like on this Facebook group I'm in for bearded dragons, they tell you like if you think your bearded dragon has died, do not do anything to bury it. Right, for at least 24 to 48 hours, because sometimes they're just faking it. Or they're
what have I
roommating.
got myself into?
I know. But I love him. So,
but another fun fact, maybe you were about to go into this.
Yeah.
About the turtle.
Yeah.
Was
say it.
Oh, you know.
Wait, what do I know?
Or no, about the oh my gosh, what was the show that
Transparent.
Transparent, thank you. They make a reference to that,
yeah,
right?
So this
which is also what Judith Light is on that show, which is kind of crazy.
Judith Light also plays the mother on Transparent, and there is an episode where they talk about this turtle that they lost, and at the end, I think of the episode,
they show the turtle.
They show the turtle walking around the attic or the basement,
which is like you wonder, maybe they got that idea from this episode, maybe not.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, she's just got she's been typecast into mothers who have runaway turtles.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
All right, so we've hit the end.
Yes.
Okay, I think you did rating first last time.
I did?
Yeah, okay. So I'll do it first this time. I give this a 7.5.
Oh my goodness.
What is that, too high or too low?
No, it's exactly what I gave.
Oh, all right.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because I'm trying to be a little tougher on the rating, but I honestly, this is one of those episodes where as a kid, I had zero interest in this story. It's like, where's Samantha? She's barely here. I don't care what's going on.
Yeah.
But now as a woman watching this and just like loving the acting that Judith and Catherine did, and just the fact that they tackled this storyline to begin with in sort of a delicate way, I thought it was really good. But I am trying to be a little harsher on the ratings, so that's what I went with.
Well, I'm with you. 7.5.
Nice.
7.5. I thought it was good. I thought that I thought the story was good. I thought it was good when Mona was going to get the money, and then she's not, and immediately she would give away the money, like let it go, because it was so like. There was so much emotional baggage that came with it and everything. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
So, it was a good episode. And the connection between Angela and Mona.
Yes. Great Angela Mona moments.
Yes,
normally
there were good moments.
Normally we don't
just get Mona being completely mean. Yeah. So there were good moments. When it counts, Mona steps up and says, that she actually loves her and stuff.
Right.
No. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you!
The boss is Tony.
Oh, okay. Tell me why.
I think. Because I think he held it all together. He kept, even though he intervened and he was nosy and whatever, he brought Mona and Angela together.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Got them talking on the couch and then snuck upstairs and listened to the whole conversation. Right. But I feel like Tony's the boss because he's still like I said, he kept it together. He got them together to talk about it. So.
Okay. I went with Mona. And here's why. I mean, I totally see the Tony point as well. But I was thinking that Mona kind of admitted to the affair and then sort of was the one that said, like, I know that you think you've got this figured out, but really you don't. And here's what happened. So True. I kind of feel like she owned up to it and she took control and, made amends with Angela. So yeah, I went with Mona, but I absolutely see the Tony part because he really kind of stepped in as like the family mediator for sure.
Okay. Well, I mean, who knows? Coming from me, I have my notes say punch is awesome.
No, I think that was a very well thought out boss. Absolutely.
I think
it's good when we have.
He tried to step in there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think he just wants to keep this family together, and
because he's a family guy,
right? Even though he's nosy and bossy and butting in, he always has good intentions. You can reach us at Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram. Also, Who's the Boss Pod 1 on Twitter.
Wait, what's that?
What's Twitter?
No. What's the Who's the Boss 1? This is the first time I've heard this.
Oh, no, I did it last week. But yes, I kept forgetting to do our last episode.
Again, it's the first time I've heard this. I guess I was
forgetting to do these. But yes, we're also on Twitter and
we're on the
Facebook.
Twitter. Okay,
yes,
on the Twitter and the Facebook.
Yes, on Twitter
and the Instagram.
Who's the Boss Pod 1, and then Facebook page is the Who's the Boss Podcast. Or you can go to anchor.fm/WTBB podcast, and there you can leave us a voice message. So we've discovered that Anchor will cut you off at 1 minute, and I think it's just because they figure that's an easy 1 minute voice message to put into a podcast. So, but if you have to do more than 1 minute, just do an additional voice message, and then I'll put them together.
Yeah, we've done that before. Oh, also, I think that we should do, if you want to leave on the voicemail, leave your best Tony Danza impersonation saying AOOA.
Nice.
We'll use it.
Yeah, then we can put it in.
I mean, we'll probably use anybody. You know, it doesn't have to be good. Just do it, and we'll probably use it.
Yes.
That would be awesome. Like to have somebody, like one of our listeners.
Yes, it'd be better than me having to do it all the time.
That's
and then
true.
continuing just to play AV over and over again. So yes, awesome.
So do it, and
that.
let's see what we get. That would be fun.
Cool.
I think that's fun.
All right. So what is our song? We are also running out of songs. So if you play
if you want to play any instrument and you want to do the Who's the Boss theme
you play the recorder, the spoons, whatever. Just put it up on YouTube and let us know.
Or just do a voice. Again, call on a voicemail, play the song. We'll use it. That would be awesome too. This is Lick and Riff. Am I saying that right?
I think so.
Lick and Riff. He does like guitar education, like
I'll
lessons,
put the full
tutorials.
tutorial link in the notes.
But he's gonna play the Who's the Boss theme song, finger style,
nice.
Like finger tab or whatever it's called. I don't know. Lick and Riff,
like using your fingers on a guitar.
That's yes. Here it is.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and tell all your friends, and give you a big pat on the back.